Magandang araw! Sama-sama tayong matuto sa Teacher Sal Learning Resource Channel.
Revised K-12 Curriculum, Science 3, Quarter 1, Week 6. Our topic is all about materials and their uses. Think about what you know about how materials change when they are thrown away. Now, tell me, what do you think will happen if the following materials are thrown away? A banana peel, an empty plastic bottle, a paper towel, a metal can, a juice cartons. Banana peel, it gets rotten. Empty plastic bottle stays the same. A paper towel, torn, crumpled, wet. A metal can stays the same but becomes rusty after a long time. A juice carton stays the same. What happens when we throw trash anywhere? There will be dirty surroundings. Where do you think all this trash goes when it rains? It goes to the drains, canals, or rivers. What do you think happens to the drains and canals when they get filled with trash? Water can't pass through. What might happen to the homes and buildings when the rainwater has nowhere to go? They get flooded. What can we do to make sure our drains and rivers stay clean and clear? By properly disposing of trash or waste and recycling. It is important to reduce the waste we create so we can avoid problems like pollution, overflowing landfills, and harm to animals and people. To do this, we need to know how to group different types of waste so we can throw them away the right way. Today, let's learn about the three main types of waste management. Can be disposed of. These are waste that cannot be used again and must be thrown away properly. Can be reused. These are items you can use again, like containers or old clothes. Can be recycled. These are materials that can be processed and made into something new, like paper, plastic, and metal. Have you heard the word nabubulok? What do you think it means? When food goes rotten, it means it has spoiled and is no longer safe to eat. This is what we call nabubulok. What do you usually do with rotten food like fruits? You're right. Rotten food should be thrown away right away. It should go into a trash can labeled "can be disposed of" because it can no longer be reused or recycled. Do you have jars at home that your family uses again, like for storing sugar? Those jars were supposed to be thrown away, but because they can still be useful, they are placed in the can be reused trash can. When we use waste materials again for the same purpose, like using a jar again to store something, we call that reusing. Have you seen any material that can be used to make new products? For example, used water bottles can still be used to create something new, like a Christmas tree or a pencil holder. These kinds of waste go into the can be recycled trash. Can because they can be turned into something useful again, but with a different purpose. When we use waste materials for a new and different purpose, we call that recycling. Now, I'll give each of you an activity sheet, one by one. I'll ask some of you to read each item aloud while the rest of you quietly follow along and read the instructions at your seats. After all the items have been read, let's come together as a class. Each group will then share what they understood about the activity instructions so we can make sure everyone is ready before starting. What is the title of the activity? What are the materials needed for the activity? What do they need to find out during the activity? Let's have activity 1. Can you place different wastes into groups based on their observable characteristic? Here are the materials needed: meal leftovers, banana peelings, twigs, weeds, juice carton, plastic bottles, glass bottles, cartons, papers, pieces of cloth. Describe each waste and what will happen to this waste when thrown away. Copy the table in your notebook and write your answers. For the first column, we have the waste, characteristics for the second column, and for the third column, answer the question, what happens when it is thrown away? Sort the items into can be disposed, can be reused, and can be recycled categories. Here is the chart to be completed. What are the wastes that can be disposed of? Leftover food such as fruits and vegetables. How will you describe waste that can be disposed of? These are waste or trash that should be thrown away, waste that rot. What do you think will happen to the trash that was put in the can be disposed of column? It will rot and put it in soil to help plants grow. What are the wastes that can be reused? Glass bottles, empty jars. How do you describe waste that can be reused? These are things we can use again instead of throwing them away. What do you think will happen to the trash that was put in the can be reused column? It will be cleaned and will be used again. What are the wastes that can be recycled? Paper, plastic bottles, and aluminum cans. What do you think will happen to the trash that was put in the can be recycled column? It will be cleaned and will be made into new things like plastic bottles to pen holders. What do you think will happen to the waste in the can be disposed of trash can? The upcoming story will help you understand what happens to the waste. Let's read a story titled Andy the Rotten Apple. Andy the apple lived in a fruit bowl with his friends, the bananas and oranges. One day, Andy noticed he was starting to rot. He remembered what his friend, the wise old gardener, had said. Rotten fruits can help the garden grow. Determined to be useful, Andy rolled off the counter and heeled toward the can be disposed bin. Just then, little Timmy walked into the kitchen and saw Andy miss the bin. Little Timmy then put Andy in the can be disposed bin. There you go, Andy, Timmy said. You're going to help our garden grow. Timmy picked up Andy and placed him in the can be disposed bin, where Andy joined other food scraps. Together, they turned into rich soil that helped Timmy's garden bloom beautifully. From that day on, Timmy always remembered to put food scraps in the can be disposed bin. Thanks to Andy and his new friends, the garden was full of beautiful flowers and tasty vegetables, keeping the earth clean and green. What did Andy, the apple, notice was happening to him? He was starting to rot. What did the wise old gardener say about rotten fruits? Rotten fruits can help the garden grow. Where did Andy decide to go when he started to rot? To the can be disposed of bin. Who found Andy near the garden bin? Little Timmy. Why is it important to use the can be disposed of bin for food scraps like Andy? It helps the garden grow and keeps the earth clean and green. What did Timmy learn to do after seeing Andy's journey? He remembered to always put food scraps in the can be disposed of bin. How did Andy and his friends help Timmy's garden? They turned into rich soil that helped the flowers and vegetables grow. What lesson can we learn from Andy's adventure? Properly disposing of food scraps in a can be disposed of bin helps the environment and keeps things clean and green. What lesson can we learn from Andy's adventure? Properly disposing of food scraps in a can be disposed of bin helps the environment and keeps things clean and green. What do we now do with the food scraps and other trash that rot? They are to be disposed in the can be disposed of bin and then used to make the soil rich, which helps in making flowers and vegetables grow. Complete the table with the correct answers through a recitation. For the first column, waste materials can be disposed of, can be reused, can be recycled. In the second column, write the description. And for the third column, write the examples. Here are the expected answers. Can be disposed of, waste that should be thrown away, waste that rot. Banana peels, food leftovers. Can be reused, waste that are used again for the same or a different purpose. Examples, jar, plastic cups, glass bottles. Can be recycled, these are waste that can be used to make new products. Examples, plastic spoon, plastic bottle. For your homework, look around your home for materials that can be reused or recycled. Choose at least 2 items to bring. Make sure the items are clean and safe to bring to school. For safety reasons, please avoid bringing cans. Bring them to school for the activity tomorrow. For day 2, waste sorting relay. We'll set up 3 stations at one end of the classroom. Can be disposed, can be reused, and can be recycled. The class will be divided into 2 teams. Each of you will take turns picking an item or a picture of an item from a pile, then run and place it in the station where it belongs. The first team to correctly sort all their items wins. The pile of item includes plastic bottles, food scraps, glass jars, twigs, dried leaves, rubber slippers, old pads, newspaper. Now that you know how to tell whether waste can be disposed of, reused, or recycled, it's time to take the next step. You will now learn how to classify different types of waste and show the proper way to dispose of each one. Let's work together to make sure we're sorting waste correctly and keeping our environment clean and safe. Let's look at these pictures together. Can you tell me which ones show a good practice in disposing of waste properly? First picture. Second picture. Third picture. Fourth picture. Where do you usually put garbage or trash at home? I usually put garbage or trash in the trash can at home. Do you have one or have more than one trash can at home? We have different bins for different kinds of trash. Do you put all garbage or trash in one bin, or do you put them in separate bins at home? At home, we put garbage or trash in separate bins. Why do you think it is important to put garbage in separate trash cans? When we separate our trash, like putting paper and plastic in one bin and food waste in another, it makes it easier to recycle things. Look at this picture. What do you observe in the trash bins? Yes, you can see words on each trash bin. These words tell us what kind of waste should go into each bin. We call these words labels. A label helps us know where to put the right kind of waste so we can dispose of it properly. Have you heard the word label? What do you know about the word label? Labels are like special tags we put on things to know what they are. Let's have activity 2. What are wastes made of? Here are the instructions. Take out the items you brought and place them on your desk. Observe and describe each item by answering these questions. How does it feel when you touch it? Smooth, rough, soft, or hard? Is it heavy or light? Can it bend, tear, or crumple? Sorting challenge. Work with your group to sort the items into 3 groups based on their similarities. Place each group of items together on a desk. List the items in each group in the table. Discuss why you group them that way. Here is the table to be completed. How do you describe each group of items? Items that can be crumpled, objects that can bend, objects that breaks when it falls. What are the similarities of the items in each group? They are made of materials. They have similar properties. What do you think are each group made of? Paper, plastic, glass. Here are different types of materials. These are made of paper, plastic, and glass. Can you find the items that are made from paper? What are they? Newspaper, cardboard, bond paper. How can you tell if something is made of paper? What does it feel like and how does it look? It is often white, like bond paper, brown for boxes, or inked like newspaper. It is smooth but sometimes a bit rough. You can bend, fold, or crumple it easily. What are some common items made of plastic that you use every day? Toys, plastic bag, water bottle, lunchbox. How can you tell if something is made of plastic? What does it feel like and how does it look? Some plastics can be easily bent, like a plastic straws, while other plastics are hard and stiff, like a toy Lego. They usually feel smooth and a little slippery. They often look shiny or smooth on the surface. Can you find any glass items around you? What are they used for? Jars, glass cup, glass bottle. It is used to store water or other beverages. Why do you think these garbage cans have labels? These wastes are meant to be disposed of together, while the wastes that can be disposed of are put in the bin together. The can be reused and can be recycled are grouped and disposed into the garbage bin with labels of what they are made of before they will be reused and or recycled. For paper, it is important that it is disposed dry in the trash bin labeled as paper. For plastics, it is important to note that plastic bags and caps can be reused, and plastic bottles can be washed and disposed in the trash bin labeled as plastic. For glass, it is important to note that glass jars can be washed and be reused or recycled. What is this? Yes, it's a bottle of cooking oil. Can you tell me where and how it is used? Great! Cooking oil is commonly used when frying or preparing meals at home. How it looks and feels when touched. Oil is thick, smooth, shiny, slippery. What do you think happens to oil when disposed? They go to the river and sea. They clog the drain. So how do we dispose cooking oil? How to dispose of used cooking oil. Don't pour down the drain. Pouring oil down the sink or toilet can clog the pipes and harm the environment. Pour into a container. Carefully pour it into a container with a lid. You can use an empty bottle, jar, or can. Seal the container. Make sure the lid is on tight so the oil doesn't spill out. Throw it away. Put the sealed container in a separate trash for disposal. Complete the map. Here is the expected answer. Take the items you brought for the activity using your knowledge of what waste are made of. Place each item in boxes with the correct label. Do it one person at a time. For day 3. Which of the wastes are made of paper, plastics, and glass? Paper, paper bag, paper folder. For plastics, we have empty water bottle, empty plastic cap, empty lotion bottle. For glass, wine bottle, glass bottle, shattered mirror. How do we dispose this waste properly? For paper, dispose dry in the trash bin, labeled as paper. For plastics, plastic bottles can be washed and disposed in the trash bin, labeled as plastic. For glass, glass bottles can be washed and be reused or recycled. Broken wads can be disposed of in the trash bin, labeled as glass. What do you see in the picture? What do you think it is made from? Do you think it can be done at home? Here are the pictures of the steps for making a water bottle planter. Number the pictures in the correct order. Let's see what you've learned so far. What do you know about reusing and recycling? What is the difference between reusing and recycling? Reusing, using something again without changing it. Recycling, turning old things into new things by changing them. What are the similarities between reusing and recycling? Both help keep the earth clean by not throwing things away and making less trash. They both save materials because you don't need to make new things from scratch. Let's have activity number 3. How can we reuse and recycle waste at home? Here are materials needed. Items from activity 2, scissors, glue, tape, art materials. Look in the items sorted in the boxes from activity 2. List down 5 items that can be reused and 5 items that can be recycled. Write your answers on the table. In the first column, you write the materials that can be reused. And in the second column, the materials that can be recycled. From the listed items in Part A, discuss which items can be recycled. As a group, pick one item from your list that you will recycle into something new and useful. Plan your recycling output. What can you create from the item? What other materials do you need to complete your output? How will you put the pieces together? Create your recycling output. Carefully cut, fold, or attach materials as needed. Work as a group to design and build your output. Be creative and have fun. Which of these materials can you use again? How can you use these materials again? Which of these materials can be used for something else? In what ways can these materials be changed so they may be used for something else? Different ways to reuse or recycle paper, plastic, and glass. For paper, clean and tidy papers can be cut and use them as notebook covers. This can also be used in arts and crafts. For plastic bottles, they can be made into beautiful plastic flowers, can be cut in uniform sizes, painted, and displayed as unique desk organizers. They can be used also as materials in making plant boxes for vegetable garden. They can be cut and used as pots both for flowers and vegetables. They can be cut with design as pots for hanging plants. Some of these plastic bottles are cut and formed as animals for garden decors. For empty glass bottles, they can be made as decorative flower holder. Colored glass bottle can also be made into wall decorations. They can also be painted and hanged on corners as decorations. Can be arranged on the cabinet artistically. Great job sharing your ideas about reusing and recycling. Now, let's move on to part B of our activity. This time, you will be recycling the items you brought for activity 2. Think about how you can turn these items into something useful again, but with a new purpose. Use your creativity and make sure to practice proper recycling while doing the activity. Why do you think it's important to recycle paper, plastic, and glass? How does reusing and recycling help our environment and the animals that live in it? Reusing and recycling paper, plastic, and glass helps keep our earth clean and safe. When we reuse and recycle, we make sure that trash doesn't get dumped in places where it can hurt animals and nature. Recycling also means we use fewer new materials, which helps protect trees and save resources. Let's complete this semantic map as a class. We will think of ways to reuse and recycle 3 materials: paper, plastic, and glass. I will write your answers in the chart as you share them. Here is the map to be completed. Here are the expected answers for reuse and for recycle. Now, it's time to share your group's work. Each group will come to the front and briefly explain your recycled output. Tell us what item you made and how you made it using the materials you brought. For day 4, safety practices that should be observed when disposing, reusing, and recycling waste materials. Let's look at these pictures of recycled products. What do you think each one is made of? Can you tell what original material was used to make this new item? Is it paper, plastic, glass, or something else? What do you think this plant pot is made of? Waste bottle, waste plastic, spoon. What do you think this Christmas tree is made of? They are made of from waste plastic bottle, cardboard. Having seen the pictures, where can we use recycled products? Recycled products can be used at home and in school, as planters and furniture and more. Which of the following are harmful effects of improper trash disposal? You're right, these are the answers. Describe the images above. Based on the pictures, what happens to us if we don't dispose our trash properly? Sickness and injuries might happen. What can we do to avoid this? Through proper waste disposal. After properly disposing of waste, what should we do with our hands? We need to wash our hands. Why do you think it's important to wash our hands? To avoid sickness that we can get from the waste. Washing our hand is one of the safety practices that we should observe when disposing, reusing, and recycling waste materials. Using the dictionary. Today, we're going to learn a new phrase, safety precaution. But first, let's understand what the word precaution means. Take a moment to look up the word precaution in your dictionary. Once you find it, raise your hand. Now, I'll call on a few of you to read the dictionary definition aloud to the class. What are the synonyms of the word precaution in English or Tagalog? Warning, safety tip, or babala. Let's have activity 4. What are the safety practices that should be observed when disposing, reusing, and recycling waste materials? Duration, it is good for 15 minutes. Instructions, look at the pictures and describe the different safety precautions. Write your observations by describing the pictures in the space provided. For the first column, disposal of waste that rot. Second column, reusing. Third column, recycling. For your reflection, why is it important to observe safety precautions when handling and disposing of waste? In the first column, these are images of safety practices, and in the second column, write the description. For the second and third picture. Fourth and fifth picture. Sixth and seventh picture. And for the last picture. Among the pictures above, which shows a safety precaution for the disposal of rotting waste, for reusing waste, or for recycling waste? Write your answers in the table below. What do you observe in the picture? What do you observe in the picture? Trash separated into different bins. The girl is using mask and gloves while disposing a bag of trash. A girl washing her hands with soap and water. Using hand sanitizer, wiping glass jar, cleaning bottles and jars with water. Doing crafts with the help of a guardian, asking for guardian's help in handling broken glass. What safety precaution is shown in the picture? Proper waste disposal, use of protective gear, washing hands after handling waste. sanitizing hands after handling waste, cleaning jars before reusing, cleaning bottles and cans before recycling, asking guardians help in handling scissors and other sharp objects. Now that you've described the images, let's think about which ones show safety precautions. Can you tell me which pictures show safety precautions for? Here are the expected answers. Why do you think it's important to observe safety precautions when handling and disposing of waste? Safety precautions help to keep us and our friends safe from getting hurt or sick. Safety precautions help to keep us and our friends safe from getting hurt or sick. We help to keep our surroundings clean and healthy. To wrap our lesson, let's complete this table together. I'll show it to the class and you'll help me fill it in by giving safety precautions and explaining why we need to follow them. Instruction: enumerate the safety precautions that you need to do in making a pen holder from recycled plastic bottle.